We can save this file as assignment 5 so that we can create a 3D model of these drawings. So here I'm going to save this as assignment 5 and pick save. And now assignment 4 is still inside assignment 5, but we're going to make sure first of all that we're in the 3D modeling workspace here at the top, and we're going to use the Home tab. But also we have the View cube, which we can use to click on the bottom right corner of that box that says Top for the Southeast Isometric View. That's one way of establishing a 3D view. And we'll change the layer to the 3D model layer that we created earlier. If you don't have a layer called 3D model, then go ahead and create one. We can also freeze the dimension layer so that we end up with just the 3D model outline. And if you look at the book, you'll see that the depth of most of this part is 0.5. Before we get started though, this small fillet will be kind of in the way when we fillet the 3D solid. So we'll erase this and then use grips to stretch this straight across. Now we can use press pull, which is here at the top left, to highlight first of all this closed shape here at the top, and then click, pull your mouse straight up and type in 0.5 and enter. And then this piece down here, you can rest your pointer inside until it highlights, click, and pull your mouse up. This is 1.5 and enter. And now you can escape or right click. These two separate pieces need to be unioned. You can see right now that they are two separate models. So we'll use the Union tool in the Solid Editing panel to select each one and then enter. And you see how now they are both one solid shape. We can change our view here from 2D wireframe to conceptual. Yours may have a black background. If you want to change the background, you can type in options or right click and pick options and then go to the display tab and pick the colors button here. And because we're in here, the 3D view, we can change the color to white. I'll go ahead and cancel out of those dialog boxes. Now we can use 3D rotate to rotate this part up so that it's in the Z direction. I'll go ahead and select 3D rotate. Select your part here and then enter it. Pick a base point here at the bottom and then decide on which ring you will use to coordinate the axis that you're going to rotate this model around. And here for our drawing in this example, I'll go to the red ring. You see the ring turns yellow, and more importantly, we have that red line that indicates the axis that we're going to rotate around. I'll go ahead and click and then type in 90 and enter. And now we've rotated that 3D model 90 degrees. You can hold your Shift key down, press the wheel of the mouse to orbit this model into place so that we can create the fillets. Now we're ready to create the fillets. We can use the regular fillet command here in the Home tab in the Modify panel to select here this edge, this line between the two right here, and then type in the fillet, which is 0.25, and then enter again. Now we can create a chain of fillets around this curve. We can start the fillet command, select here this top edge, type in 0.25 or just press enter, and then type in C for chain and enter, and pick the next line or chain of the fillet. You see how it automatically pulls all of these lines that are connecting all the way around, and then I'll go ahead and pick this last edge here in the front and then enter. Okay, we can then freeze the objects layer and the hidden layer, or you could also leave those in place and move the model. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and select the model and then hold my left mouse button down on the model and drag it over here so that it's on its own. And now before we switch to layout 1, we're going to create a layer called Viewports. Some companies use the def points layer, but you won't be able to freeze it. So I would recommend that you use a new layer called Viewport or Viewports. So I'll go ahead and create a new layer called Viewports, and you can change the color if you'd like to know that that's your viewport layer. It doesn't matter what color it is, but we're going to set it current before we switch to layout, and it will be a no plot layer, which means I'm going to click on this little printer icon here in the layer properties dialog box so that it never plots. I'll go ahead and close out of this dialog box and then go over to layout 1. When you go to layout 1, you'll see a box that's inside a sheet of paper. The dashed line represents the margins. If you double click inside this box, you're inside the hole that's inside the paper. And we talked about this in one of the earlier videos. You see I'm in the model space, but I'm actually through this window or this hole in the paper called the viewport. And now we could set up a scale down here. Let's make that 1:1. If we make it 1:1, it looks like it fits pretty well on the paper. You can double click out here in the paper or in the gray space to get back out into the paper. As we said earlier, you could use these grips to crop the view, but more importantly, I'm going to use my escape key to get out of this. We did say, because we're working online and we're going to create a portfolio of these views, we're going to turn off or freeze that layer. Because it's the current layer, you won't be able to freeze it, but you can turn it off but it'll give you a warning that it is the current layer. It'll still turn it off though. So that's one of the reasons why I don't like to use here this light bulb icon, because you can actually turn off your current layer, kind of like drafting in the dark. As you start to draw, your objects are being turned off automatically. And also, if you turn the layers off in a bigger drawing, the AutoCAD is still regenerating those objects. If you freeze the layer, then it helps to improve your drafting time, because those objects that are frozen are ignored during the regen time. Okay, so little sidetrack there. We can go back to our layers and set the text layer current so that we don't draw our text on the viewport layer. And now, using the Annotate tab, multi-line text, we can put our title here at the bottom, which will be Assignment 5, Bracket Design. And go ahead and put your name there. I believe we call this 2D and 3D brackets, so if you'd like to put 3D bracket design in there, that would work. Highlight Assignment 5, 3D bracket design, and click on U for underline. And as long as you stay consistent with the way that your sheets are set up, if you wanted to use here a different font, or to make it centered, or put the font up in the top right corner, as long as all of your sheets for your portfolio are that way, then you'll have that consistency showing throughout the portfolio. And because this is a scale drawing that's 1-to-1, we would usually put the scale here, but we won't need to for this example. Okay, save your file and submit it as Assignment 5.